Hello to anyone who might be watching this video. So, at the time of recording this, the weather is pretty horrible. I don't know if you can hear the sound of winds. I see some trees is getting blown open by the wind. Whatever. And that is why I decided to stay at home today. And to not get bored, I decided I thought of doing something fun, such as my physics project. Now, this project requires me to make a balloon-powered car. I know, really unbelievable. So to understand how this car works, we first have to understand Newton's third law of motion, which states, for every action, there's always an equal but opposite reaction. To give an example of this, when we're trying to push the bar up, the action here is our arm pushing the bar up, while the reaction is the bar pushing our arms down. In the case of the balloon-powered car, the action is the air getting into the balloon, while the reaction is the balloon getting the air out as a result of pushing the car forward. We know how the car works. It's time to actually make the car. Firstly, let's go over the materials. We need a branch with at least 6 or 8 inches. I have one that's a bit longer, but it doesn't matter, we're gonna cut it anyway. We need at least 2 straws. I have 3 in case something goes wrong. We need at least 1 balloon, but I have 2, again, in case anything goes wrong. We need 4 water ball tops, which will act as which will act as tires as for our car. We need a water bottle, which will be the base of our car. We need tape so that everything sticks together and nothing falls over. We need scissors in order to cut straws and also pierce through the water ball tops. We need a ruler so that we can make the correct measurements, and we need these coloring pens, and so that for some original design elements that you'll see later on. So our first step is to cut two sticks about 4 inches long. When we're measuring it with a rule like this, we have to convert into centimeters. 1 inch is about 2.5 centimeters, so we have to look for 10 centimeters in length, which is about here, I want to say. Okay, so let's just break it, and we got about 10 centimeters. Let me double check. We got a little bit more than 10 centimeters, but whatever. And now we need a second stick with also 10 centimeters. Yes. And now just break it. Right. So nice. I think we got 2 sticks with 10 centimeters. Let me measure them. So about 2 centimeters. This one is a bit longer, and this one's a bit longer. Nice. And let's just remove this. Nice, and let's just move this. So now we have 2 sticks with 10 centimeters each. So our second step is to cut 2 straws about 2 inches each. As I said before, 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters, so we need to measure it with 5 centimeters. This is about here. Let me grab it with, and there we go. Now I need to do the same with the second straw. Just do this. Second straw. Oops, I didn't check. So we have two straws. Let me see. They both 5 centimeters. The second one is a bit more. So let me just cut it a bit. So from here. So for third step, all we have to do is pierce a slit for each of these water bottles, like this. Mine already pierced thanks to a certain person, and every single water bottle has to be pierced. It's very important. So for the fourth step, all we have to do is push the six that we made earlier into one of these water bottle slits. Now, just like this, and we have to make sure that only only 0.5 inches are sticking out of the water bottle slit. Mine is a bit too much. Let's bring it back a bit. So again, a bit too much. So 0.5 inches is about 1.25 centimeters, if I'm not mistaken, and I think you should be able to see by the camera that this is as close to 1.5 centimeters as I could get. And we have to make sure the other 3.5 inches are sticking on the other side of the wall. So for the fifth step, all we have to do before we put another water bottle cap on the other side of the twig, we have to put the straw inside of the longer side of the twig, and only then do we close it off again with another water bottle cap. Again, we have to measure that so that only 0.5 inches are sticking out. God, this is about to be kind of annoying. So it's a bit more right now. Let me just decrease it. It's about here, I want to say. Yeah, I don't know if the camera could see it. It's kind of hard, but it's close enough. So for the sixth step, all we have to do is put a bit of tape on the water bottle caps so that it doesn't fall off. We have to put it. This is a bit complicated. We have to make sure that the water bottle cap is taped to the stick, but not to the. Okay, it's kind of difficult. Right, so I think I did it correctly. We have to make sure that it's taped to the stick but not to the straw. And that's the important part. And of course we have to do it on both ends, so let me get this second piece of paper. And we have to do it on the second end. Let me see if the second end is still 1.5 centimeters. And yep, the second end is still approximately. And yeah, at around here we should be able to tape it. Unfortunately, hold on. Sure.
A few moments later.
After some time, I managed to tape it on. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it on camera because I was so frustrated. Yeah, on to the next step. For the 8th step, what we need to do, we need to first measure our base. Mine is around 16 centimeters, so we need to go one third of the way to our base, which mine is pretty much 5. So now that I've measured it, now what we need to do, we need to tape. What we need to do is tape one of our axes even to the base, and it's going to be a bit annoying. Yep, kind of annoying. Hopefully it should be taped by now. Let me see. Where is scissors? Right. So I don't know if it's taped straight or not. We're about to find out. Okay. And yep, I think this is good. So now from the other end, we have to get into the 1/3 way to the base from the other end, which is about here, I want to say. It is, yes, about here. Now all we have to do is tape it. And now, oh. Weird. Here, and let us now just tape this onto the bottle. What we have to do now is just, now let's cut the tape. That's it, and I think everything is good. So this is the result that we got. So everything's good. Okay, so next is what we have to do is we have to measure our straws, measure it from about an inch, so around 2.5 centimeters. And then we have to put it inside the balloon, like this. And now all we have to do is apply tape onto it, like this. The scissors, cut this away. And just like this, everything should be alright. Like this. In case just a bit more tape. Fine. I think this is fine. Now let's continue. So we're close to finishing this car. Now what we need to do, put it like this and tape the part straw closest to it, like this. Oops. Unfortunate. I guess we're done.
So, I'm recording this about 4 days after I recorded the rest of the video. The reason is because, okay, so after I videotaped the process of me making the car, the result was this. Yeah. To be honest, this car looks terrible, and of course it fell apart. Jeez. This car looks horrible. Well, this car looks horrible. It can't even work properly. Additionally, I made a lot of mistakes while designing this car, such as hanging the amplifier so that the balloon is hanging over the edge of the base. You do not want to do that, because when you're gonna fill out the balloon, let's take this. Hold on, let me put this back. When you're gonna fill up the balloon, it's gonna get the air out, and as a result exert a force and push the car forward. When it's gonna be pushing the car forward, the balloon's gonna be in front at the front, as a result decreasing the speed of the car. Which is why you do not want to tape it so that the balloon is hanging over the edge of the car. Or that's only one of the mistakes I've done while designing this car. So after I done videotape the entire process, I wasn't really happy with the result. I was unbelievably dissatisfied, and so I decided to do the entire process again. So, and the result was this car, my second attempt. Alright, so this is the car I got. Now, the problem with this car, although I fixed some of the issues, such as the balloon is no longer hanging over the edge of the base, this car had another problem. It couldn't move. In fairness, theoretically, you should fill up the balloon, and the balloon should move the air, and the car should move. But the car can move, mainly because the tires, as you can see, the tires aren't moving. The tires aren't stuck. As a result, although I love the design of this car so much more, I was more passionate about this car, I ultimately had to scrap it, because it was almost like one of those cars that are for show but do not actually work, you know. And yeah, I ultimately gave up on this car. This car was really unfortunate. I was really hoping that it would work. By the way, I didn't videotape the process of me making this car, mainly because the entire process is pretty much the same, and so you shouldn't really worry about it too much. And after this, I had to scrap the second car. I was kind of depressed. I don't know what to do. I spent a couple of hours just sitting there thinking about, like, how am I gonna measure velocity if I do not have a functional car, until eventually I decided to do the entire process again, but this time doing a couple of things a bit differently. Now, the result was this car. This car, oh my god, I'm holding it. Oh god. I don't know why cameras are this difficult. Okay, the result was this car. Now, the reason why this car, some of the different things I decided to do. Instead of using a water bottle base, I used a toothpaste box as the base. It's much easier because with a toothpaste box, it's easier to determine when the axes are actually parallel. So I would recommend you guys to use a toothpaste box. Additionally, when I was wrapping the balloon onto the straw, I used one of these rubber bands, purely because I realized when using tape, when using tape, it didn't look as pretty. It looked horrible. Well, in addition, if you taped it incorrectly, either the balloon or the straw would be damaged. So, whereas with rubber bands, if you fail to do it from the first try, you could just try again with the band and then put it on again. Additionally, for the sticks, I use these bamboo sticks. These are so much more effective. My phone stopped recording for some reason. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I said that for the axes, these sticks, instead of using branches as I did previously in the video, I use these bamboo sticks. Now these ones I'm positive are easier to get, and they're much easier to break than the branches. So like, see, much easier. Right? You don't have to exert as much force as I did previously in the video. So, okay. And that's pretty much it. And another tip I would give you: get a pump if you really want. If you want to do this, do not blow the balloon in with your mouth, because you'll get saliva into the balloon and the car wouldn't move after that. So, all I want to do is just prove to you that this car is actually, hold on, I need to change the angle of it so that you can see it. As you can see, I didn't try as much. Of course, the car didn't move as much because I have limited space here. So as you can see, the car actually moved the way it was supposed to, that's a huge success. And this is actually proof that all the measurements that you'll be seeing in the Excel file are actually made by me and by this car. That's about it. Now that I've talked about some of the mistakes I did during the video taking process, let's actually move on to talking about some of the theoretical stuff about this car. Now that I explained some of the mistakes I've done when I was videotaping myself, it's time to actually talk about some of the theoretical foundations of this car. As I previously mentioned, this car is kind of based on Newton's third law of motion, where the action is air getting into the balloon and the reaction is the balloon getting the air out. But that point can actually be interpreted in another way, where when air gets into the balloon, when potential energy builds up. And when an air gets out of the balloon, that potential energy changes to kinetic energy, as a result pushing the car forward. So that's another way of interpreting how the design of this car, how this car actually works. And now, how can we actually measure the car's motion? Well, there isn't a specific formula for car motion. Rather, there's a formula for measuring the amount of motion in anything. In other words, the quantity of motion. And that formula is P equals mv, where P is the momentum of the object, m is the mass of the object, and v is the velocity of the object. So pretty much we can use that formula to determine the amount of motion in anything, not just in the car, not just in this car. So yeah, I think I'm done. I don't know what else I could actually explain. At the end, now I would like to thank anyone who was watching this video. A special thanks to my physics teacher for this unbelievable opportunity. I am really happy with how my final car turned out. The first two cars, the first two failures, this one and this one, it was fun making them at the very least. Yeah, thank you for everyone, and I'll hopefully, probably never actually will see. Thank you for everyone and for watching this, and goodbye.